know, he's in the best shape he's ever been, mentally, physically. You know, his strength, his weight. You know, I think the way he's made his weight now. You know, Martin's quite a big guy for a middleweight, but the way he's made his weight this time is better. He's been eating so well in South Africa because he's had personal chefs and a great team out there looking after him, cooking for him. So I'm more confident than any other fight he's ever had at the moment that he's going to go in there in his best shape. And all I can say is, if he's not good enough on the night, there's nothing more he could have done to be good enough. So I'm so proud in the way he's adapted to this fight. He's been waiting for this fight for a long time. It's a plan we've had for a long time with Rodney Berman. And in some ways, this Monte Carlo here, it's like home to us now. As much as it is for GGG, to be fair. Because GGG's fought here twice, and everyone's very receptive towards him and Martin. So, you know, I'm looking forward to Saturday night, and I'm looking forward to seeing how good Martin really is. We've seen in the past, the bigger the fight, the better you see out of Martin Murray. So, Saturday night's going to be a great test for Martin, but also a great test for GGG, because he's no doubt about it. He's the best fighter Martin's the best fighter he's ever faced.
Questions, guys?
Martin, you said yesterday during the press conference, I have a feeling. You have a feeling that it's going to happen. Could you tell us more about this feeling? Is it a dream? What is that?
No, it's not a dream. It's just, you know, I've been in 2 previous world title fights. You know, I was a little bit. First one, I was, you know, not doubting myself, but it was my first test at, you know, world level. So I knew I could win. Same with the Martinez one. I knew I could win, you know, but I never had a feeling in them 2 previous camps like I have with this one. Everything about this has just seemed so natural. The way everything's fell into place, the way it's worked out, and you know, I just had a feeling. I can't really explain it. You know, I know how tough the fight's going to be, like I've said, but you know, I've just got a feeling that no matter what happens, I'm going to get through it and become world champion.
You've been over to South Africa for training camp. How has that gone for yourself, and how have you prepared differently for this fight against Golovkin?
Well, by doing that, by going to South Africa, I always train hard. I always have done. I've always had good long camps. Usually we do about 10 weeks. When we've got a date, we work from 10 weeks out, but we did an extra 2 weeks with this one, so we've had a 12-week camp. Did 6 weeks in England, training over Christmas. It wasn't nice. You know, obviously the sacrifices you have to make, but that's part of the job. But yeah, 10th of January we went over to South Africa. The reason behind doing that was for the altitude. You know, if the science behind it is right, then I'm the fittest I've ever been. I've never trained in altitude before. As Andrew said, really felt it the first couple of weeks, but as time went on, I got a lot more used to it, so I've definitely benefited from it. Yeah, that was one of the reasons. Another reason was the weather. It's been absolutely great over there, the weather. You know, it's usually when you train in England, you train, you get wrapped up. I've got my trackers on, my long johns on, my hood, my hat, everything, and I'm home. Over in South Africa, it was shorts on after training, shower and sunbathing, so you know, it was good to get that bit more sun. It was a lot easier as well getting up in the morning or of a night training, going for a nice steady jog in the weather. Again, like Andrew said, my weight's the best it's ever been, and I think it's partly because it's so easy to train in nice weather, as well as having the chefs in the team at Empress Palace in the Doriel Hotel looking after us. They've been absolutely amazing, Bob Yearham and his staff. Yeah, so that was another reason, and the third reason behind it was just to get away from my family. Anybody who knows me know how much I love my kids, know how much I'm a family man. Being away from them for so long, it's crippled me. It's been hard. First couple of weeks there, I was thinking, what have I done here? You know, what have I done? But then, as time progressed, I started seeing the finishing line with the fight getting closer. Things started improving in training, you know, getting better, feel the benefit of the altitude. And it just took me away from my family life. you know, it took me away from just doing little things in the morning, like sorting the kids the breakfast out, while Gemma's upstairs getting dressed, and you know, doing the school run before training, just all little things like that. It just took away them tiny little things, and you know, I had to do something that I've never done, and this was it. You know, I think I've come so close twice before, and you know, by the smallest of margins, I've come up short, and I just needed to take away any little type of regret come fight night. You know, it was all about no regret to me when it come to Saturday for the fight, and I can honestly say it is. I've trained the best I've ever trained. I've been the most focused I've ever been, and it is about no regrets. You know, don't get me wrong, I want to win more than you'll ever know, more than you can ever imagine to. But if that doesn't happen, worst case scenario is I can be happy with myself. All I can do is my best, and I've done it.
Why not do everything that you're doing? Why weren't you able to do that before? Why did it take to this point to do all that?
To be honest, yeah, I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot for me to get me away from my family. It took a lot. I thought that I could win the world titles without doing that. You know, I love my family life, I love my home life, and that's the reason I didn't want to do it, and it took quite a bit, Andrew, didn't it, to get me to go.
I think another big reason is, which you have to take into the fact is, when Martin fought Stern, Martin was fighting on peanuts. You know, he fought for peanuts for that chance, and you know, Stern tried to get us to fight before we signed for Rodney Berman. Stern offered us the fight to fight him, and we turned down that world title chance to fight Stern for this fight. We were always ready, preparing ourselves for Golovkin. In our opinion, and in most people's opinion, he didn't have the money. Just going back for 1 second, he didn't have the money before, right, to be able to go to South Africa. This South Africa camp, he's took sparring partners, he's paid for sparring partners, he's paid for hotels, it's cost him about £40,000. That he was fighting for, like, maybe not a lot more than that for the Stern fight. So it's all about stages in your career, and obviously the better more money you're getting, the more you can put into your camp. He's invested this time hugely in for this fight. So most of the guys, I was speaking to somebody yesterday who saw Daniel Geale when he fought GGG the last time. I honestly thought it'd be more of a test than he was, right? Because he's a good boxer. Daniel Geale can box. He's a nice guy as well, you know. But what he did was, HBO and all went to Australia, and he was doing his normal routine every day, taking it, like Martin said, taking the kids, doing this, doing that. Great, that's great. But what you've got to do against someone who I consider GGG, and Martin will say it, he's the best out there at the moment in middleweight until Saturday night. If you're going to take yourself to that next level, right, you've got to do things that you've never done before. You've got to take yourself and put yourself through a barrier that you've never done before. That this time is what he's done. So, you know, Martin's saying, yeah, I've never really wanted to do it. It's not just that. He couldn't do it. He didn't have the money to do it. You know, that's the key to this.
Still took a lot getting me there this time, though, didn't it?
Yeah, you know, he's took a bit of well, really, no, it didn't take that much persuading. Maybe this fight before.
Yeah,
but you know, he's been fighting from Martinez, 45,000 people, Stern, and coming down to on no disrespect to Bursak and what's his name? Sparta. No disrespect to them. Those guys aren't at Martin's level, and Martin finds it difficult to get up to that, or to come down to that level again. And you know, when you're fighting here against big names, and all of a sudden, and you know, yeah, we keep going on about it, and I don't want to keep going on and on and on. He's had two very, very unlucky decisions. If that fight against Stern was in the UK, we'd have got it. Martinez, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm glad he didn't get it, the decision, because he wouldn't be here now, right, if he'd have got that decision. So, you know, we are where we are. He has no regrets about, I could have done this, I could have done that. He ran out of steam probably. In both of those fights, he ran out of steam, but you know what happened? We've had more money to invest in nutritionists. We never had a nutritionist 4 fights ago. Now, we had supplements and people were giving him this, that and the other. We found out that he's allergic to gluten, things like that. Well, every fight he's had, he's thought it's been great to have a bowl of pasta before the fight, and this, that, and the other. You know, we didn't know until I got with Martin and I started bringing a few more things, a bit more science involved in it, because that's the way boxing's gone now. Boxing's far more professional. It's the biggest sport it's ever been, and he needed to be tested, and we tested his body, and we found out little weaknesses that we didn't even know were there. We found out allergies that we didn't know were there, and now, you know, he's been training 5-minute rounds for 12 rounds, and he's seen the difference just in eating, in the slightly changing of eating habits. He sees a difference. So when we're looking back on the past, and you're talking about losing the one loss and the draw on his card, if you look at those fights closely, you'll find that in the last 2 rounds especially, alright, he's at altitude in Argentina, things are a little bit different, but he did run out of that little bit of steam that and they're saying to us, the scientists are saying, well, I can't even believe that you got to the 12th round in the way you did. Eating what you've been eating, that your body's allergic to some of these things, you know, doesn't agree with your body. So things have changed behind the scenes that, you know, we can talk about now, you know, and that investment in all these things has been made, and he's put a lot of his money back in to being the best, and where he is today is down to those little things. But those fighters that we talked about before that he's had on the lead up to Golovkin, honest to God, right, every single one of them is like a sparring session. We did not want to knock out first round, second round, and people talk about, oh, Murray hasn't got the punching power. Let me assure you now, right, he's got amazing punching power. I was laughing with him yesterday, right? We always have a little talk, and he always shows me pictures of food and this, that, and the other, because he's dying to eat a burger on Sunday, right? He said to me yesterday, I said to him, you know, he said, you know how far I'm prepared to go here? I said, don't plan Sunday, because I could be in hospital. I'm going to give this everything. That is the mentality in his mind. He's willing to do anything. He's putting his body on the line to make it and to do what he needs to do on Saturday night.
Let me ask you about that mentality. Do you see this as your last opportunity for a world title shot, given the 2 chances you had?
If I'm honest with you, no. Looking at the longer picture, I don't, because I've been a professional now 7 years. I'm only just getting into my prime. I think there is going to be, if this doesn't work out, opportunities after this. But having said that, this is all I'm thinking about, and you know, this is it for me. I can't think of anything but this fight, and I can't think past it.
Martin, when you won Prize Fighter, did you envision that you'd be in Monte Carlo facing potentially one of the greatest fighters of our era?
Never in a million years. I'll be honest with you, when I turned professional in 2007, my history is well documented, you know. When I finally got my life back on track, I signed with a small old promoter, didn't have the backing of a main television programme, so, you know, I did it the hard way on small old shows, got me opportunity in Prize Fighter, got me a bit more exposure, and yeah, I mean, you know, when I first set out as a professional, I understood the game. My main aim was to win the British title, you know, my main aim was to win the British title, but also my aim was, starting out as a professional, to reach my full potential, dedicate solely to boxing, 110%, give it absolutely everything, knowing at the end of it that when I retire I can be happy with myself, I can live in comfort with myself knowing that I give it my all. So my first thing about doing was, my aim was win the British title. Obviously when I won that, you start raising the bar a bit more, you start raising your goals, more realistic goals. And obviously moved on to becoming world champion. I'm an established world class fighter now, and I know that becoming world champion is well in me reach. But I'd have never have thought that I'd have been here in this situation. But at the same time, I'm not in awe of it. Do you know what I mean? It's great to be here, don't get me wrong, but I truly believe that I deserve to be here. I've put a lot of work in with my team. I've got a great team behind me, and yeah, I'd have never thought I'd been here, but at the same time, I think I deserve to be here. And just looking forward to fighting now. There's now there's no to concern me. It's great, but I just can't wait for Saturday.
We know boxing is obviously a short career span for the fighters. Does this fight make you financially secure?
It sets me up, but to be honest with you, since signing with Ronnie Burnham, Golden Gloves, you know, the outfit and the offer they put to me was too good to refuse. He's done absolutely everything he said he would do, and it's working. It's worked out right for me. You know, it's obviously, I always want better. I always want to achieve more. It's just in my nature and the way I am. So this isn't the be all and end all for me. I want to go on. I want to be in bigger fights. Of course, I want to earn more money because it secures my family more, and that's all I'm doing it for. But you know what? It's the biggest fight in my life. It's the biggest payday, and you know it's definitely worthwhile.
Golovkin's got this reputation of being the boogeyman of boxing, one of the most avoided fighters. How quickly was your decision to take this fight once you guys were offered it?
It was always the aim. This was it. I think we signed with Rodney in March last year. I'd just split with that promotions. They failed to deliver me a world title fight that they said they was going to deliver. You know, it's well documented everything we went through with them. But that was the last chance for them. They promised me a world title, they didn't deliver, and if they didn't deliver, you know, I was contract free. I had to give them a certain amount of money back, but yeah, they were contract free, and then I signed with Rodney then, and this was always it. It was always 3 fights in Monte Carlo. The third fight being Golovkin. So I signed 12 months ago, knowing that this fight was going to happen. And to be honest with you, I kind of knew it was always going to happen. Me and Golovkin was always going to fight. But the good thing about going into this fight, working with Golden Gloves, is that, again, like Andrew said, you know, they wasn't the type of fighters that I wanted to fight. But at least I'm going off it, you know, going into this fight off a little bit of form, you know, a couple of good wins rather than the inactivity I was suffering before I signed with Golden Gloves.
Martin, you said formally it took you a lot to go in this training camp away from your kids and wife. Would you say it was more painful emotionally going to jail than going to jail?
No, not at all. And the reason being that I had a different life when I was back then. I didn't have a family. Do you know what I mean? Now, if anything like that happened again, it'd affect me a lot worse. But back then, I was young, I was carefree. I wasn't really bothered, if I'm brutally honest with you.
But you understand, it was more painful to leave your kids away?
Oh yeah, by far, yeah, definitely by far, yeah.
It gives a scale of your commitment for this fight.
Yeah, well that was it. Like I said, no regrets. I've done everything I possibly can, and you know what will be will be.
Michael told about money. Financial backing is important, but it seems in your history of life, it's not about money. It's something more deep when you see your eyes.
Well, obviously, boxing is a job to me. Anybody who knows me know I don't watch, but I don't love boxing. I don't watch it. I'm not a massive boxing fan. I treat it solely as a job. That's it. It's for taking care of my family. That's it. But so obviously you want good paydays. You want the best things you can get to secure your family. But again, going back to what I've said, it was just about reaching my potential. That's it. Trying my best, giving it my all, and just seeing where I got to.
When it gets painful, when you're all alone in the ring, what do you think in your head?
To be honest with you, I've not experienced severe pain yet in a ring. I remember fighting Felix Sturm. There was a time in that fight where I really had to, pick my game up, and what I started thinking about at then times, I started thinking about my first amateur trainer, John Chisnall, who died. I was very close to John, and he was a massive inspiration to me as an amateur. And he died in 2005, and he's a massive inspiration to me since. That's the only time where I've really felt it tough in a fight. And asking me what I think about, he's the first the first person and first thing I thought about. But yeah, I understand that this fight's going to be tougher. So I think I'll be thinking a lot more of John. And yeah, just I can't really tell you, but like I said, the reason I'm doing this is for my family. So it's all for them, and yeah, that's all I've been thinking about in camp, and all I'll be thinking about going into the fight.
Do you think Golovkin will be your toughest opponent to date, and what chinks in the armour have you seen of his?
So no chinks in his armour, I'll be honest with you, I've not. I was hoping a couple of his past opponents would show us some, they've not. He's a good fighter, great all-round fighter, nothing more I can say about that. Yeah, and so that means definitely the toughest fight. The things we had to work on with Sturm and Martinez, they'd shown us weaknesses so we could work on them. We've not seen any with Golovkin, so yeah, by far the toughest fight.
Martin, Gennady is a huge puncher. He's been in a streak of 18 knockouts. How do you approach this power in the fight, and how did you prepare specifically for it?
Well, I've just approached it as the toughest fight in my life. You know, I'm willing to go through hell. I'm willing to go through whatever it takes. He's got power. I understand that. But yeah, I've just approached it like that. I understand that everything that's going to happen and what can happen, and that's just been my mentality going into the training camp. I've accepted that that's going to happen, and you know, I'm ready for it.
Aren't you afraid of being exhausted by being anguished about the power, not feeling the power that is in front? Is it
being exhausted by? How do you mean? By thinking of it?
Yeah, of course. Not feeling it.
Well,
being afraid of it.
Well, I'm not afraid of it. That's the thing. I understand it's going to happen. I'm not afraid of it, so I'm not exhausted about thinking of it whatsoever.
What makes you sure your plan's going to work?
To be honest with you, Clinton, I don't. You know, it's not a foregone conclusion that I'm going to win. I'm going to go in there and give it me all, that's it. But I think my mentality for this fight, and as a fighter, and also my versatility. You know how versatile I am as a fighter. You know, I can box, I can fight, I'm good defensively, good going forward. I'm good at nullifying what other people are good at. So I think that's, you know, that's what makes me makes people think that I've got, you know, the most chance in him to beating Golovkin and his toughest fight today.
He's come up a little bit short, but you guys think he won it, and everyone's telling us that both the fights, right? So on Saturday night we will see how good he really is against someone, as like Martin says, as versatile, as strong-minded as him. But you know, when I sat there in that show with Martin, we were sat on our own together in the side. I think we saw it.
We
saw Bernie sat there.
I was scared to death.
Yeah. Now, as we sat there, it was like, you know, it wasn't a boxing atmosphere. You know, it was quite, you know, it's very professional. I mean, this place is brilliant. You know, it's great. But they're also crying out for a bit of atmosphere in these shows. I don't know if you've all been to the last shows here with Gennady's shows, but you're in for a big shock on Saturday night, because Golovkin's got another pressure on top. Martin's the underdog, and we're made up with that, because every time he's the underdog, he produces the best, right? But Golovkin's going to fight under a different kind of atmosphere. Not 10,000 people standing up in New York, right? He's fighting in a 1,000 seat arena, right? With 75%, maybe 80, Murray, Barmy Army. No. He's going to be a bit of a shock to his system. That is all of a sudden, you know, they've built him up to be this superstar. But has Golovkin ever fought anyone of Murray's? It isn't his fault he hasn't fought anyone of Murray's standards, right? It isn't his fault. We know that, and we agree that it's not his fault. But this is his first test, and I'll tell you something. If Martin wins, everyone's going to kick himself in the foot and thought, why weren't we the one? Why didn't Quillen take the risk? Why didn't Andy Lee take the risk? Why didn't Martinez, Sturm take the risk against him? Because, you know, he is frightening punching power. He's knocking people out. We can't hide that for fun, right? So why would somebody want to be the guinea pig he wanted to be? He said to me, I want to fight him. After Martinez, his stock was the highest it's ever been. He should have been fighting immediately after that. We should have rolled with it. Things didn't happen for different reasons with our promotion company, which we're not with anymore. But we should have been going then. That was it. When we've had to start the ball going again. So we've had to start again, come back down to the start and build ourselves right the way to the top again. And we're here, but he's in for a different test, and people could be kicking themselves on the foot on Saturday, thinking to themselves, I wish we'd have took the risk, because he's going to be a superstar on Saturday if he wins this fight. If he wins this fight, he's a superstar.
I mean, the thing is, like you said, you know, you can't. Golovkin's only fought who he can fight. It's as simple as that. I know it's my toughest fight. It's his toughest fight, and I know we'll both rise to the occasion. I know that, and it's going to be a great fight on Saturday. You know, I've just got a feeling that it's just going to be an absolute classic.